And again, it is against the law in this country to burn or desecrate the gay pride flag, but it's not illegal to burn Old Glory. Well, that notion did not sit well with many law-abiding patriots, many of them veterans who put their lives on the line to defend the red, white, and blue. Now, earlier today, as I mentioned, President Trump issued an executive order directing his administration to prosecute people who desecrate the American flag and to detain and remove immigrants who have been accused of such behavior.
What the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah, incitement is
incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record.
Well, the left, they lost their ever-loving minds today, folks. Who does Trump think he is? We have a right to burn Old Glory. We have a right to spit on the flag. We have a right to stomp that flag. Burn, baby, burn. Well, that's pretty much what Minnesota Governor Tim Walz told a crowd of Democrats today.
Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat. What should I say today? I don't know. Just make sure it's cruel. Who do we listen to? That guy. Oh, the felon in the White House? Yeah, listen to him and that will be fine. Now he's talking about burning flags. He's going to have flag burning or whatever. Because he knows there's a hell of a lot of flags with his picture on it that are going to get burned.
Wow. Despicable. Even some conservative pundits lined up to attack the president. Here's the headline tonight on Mediaite. This is garbage. Conservatives slam Trump plan to jail American flag burners. You know, the way I see it here, folks, the only thing worse than someone who burns our great flag is a conservative who defends those who light the match. It's repulsive. And they are no different than the cultural jihadists who are tearing down statues, renaming streets and parks, and quite frankly, whitewashing American history. And one final note about the illegals. They've invaded our nation. They've taken away jobs from American citizens. They're overrunning our schools and hospitals and taking away resources that are needed by law-abiding Americans. So instead of being grateful, well, they've taken to our streets protesting ICE agents, clashing with police, burning Old Glory while waving the flag of their home countries. That is not the behavior of a good or decent person. That is what one would expect from an invading army of soldiers, determined to raise the flag of a foreign country over the land of the free and the home of the brave. And today, President Trump said, "Not on my watch." Now, to discuss this even further, I want to bring in Associate White House Counsel Grace. Pastor Grace, a lot of controversy right now about the flag, among other things, and the conservatives that are critics are saying, hey, they have a constitutional right to burn Old Glory. What say you?
Yeah, so the executive order the president signed today directs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are inciting violence while desecrating the flag. And that's consistent with the First Amendment. The First Amendment allows people to speak freely, but it doesn't allow you to use fighting words, right? That concept in the law that if you're inciting violence, if you're threatening people, that's not protected under the First Amendment. And we all saw the protests at Columbia University last year where students were calling for their fellow students to be attacked violently. They were intimidating them while burning the American flag. That's not lawful and that's not protected. So today's executive order directs that behavior and it's consistent with the First Amendment.
So our team here went back into the history book and we found something very interesting. Protecting American flags was not necessarily a uniquely Republican idea. As a matter of fact, here's Senator Joe Biden. Let's watch this back in 1995.
My amendment is simple and straightforward. It leaves no room for guesswork about what it will mean. It gives the Congress the power to enact. It's a constitutional amendment. It gives the power of the Congress to enact a specific viewpoint-neutral statute. A statute making it unlawful to burn, mutilate, or trample upon any flag of the United States, period. It doesn't matter who burns or mutilates or tramples the flag, and it doesn't matter why. Under my proposal, it will be unlawful to do the flag harm, no ifs, ands, or buts.
So what do you think about what then Senator Biden had to say, Grace?
I think this is a bipartisan issue, and it's obvious, but I do think the modern left, it's totally possible they might be in favor of burning the American flag. I think that's where we're at in the modern era, is that, you know, the left wants America not to be the powerful nation that it should be. They want society to crumble, right? Like, I think that's now what the left stands for, is the burning of the American flag and all the things those things represent.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned what the left now is seems to be supporting. It appears they're supporting criminal activity.
Yeah.
When you look at what's happening here in our nation's capital, President Trump wanting to make Washington, D.C. safe again.
Yeah.
And since the crackdown happened, we haven't had a single murder here in Washington, D.C. Violent crime is down 32%. Grace, I'm just curious, why are the Democrats objecting to all of this?
D.C. is one of the key examples of how the left is actually pro-crime. They have to be, right? There has to be some sort of incentive structure. It's not clear. But what is obvious is that the president is one of the few people committed to actually making America safer. That's both here in D.C. and across the country, right? The president signed 2 executive orders today that show that our administration is committed to ensuring public safety. And it's because we're going to stop things like cashless bail, which we mentioned earlier. And those types of policies are going to make the public safer. And that's really important, even if the left is against it. That's why President Trump won the election, not the left.
Which is why cashless bail has turned New York City, for example, into a lawless war zone because of that one issue. Grace, we have to leave it there.
Yeah,
Great analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.